right, we're live, guys. And I have with me today is Kayla Ouellette. She is the owner of KO Beauty Bar in Epping, New Hampshire. And today we're going to talk bridal business success. Some of the things we're going to talk about is building your bridal business, building rapport, marketing yourself and branding yourself, connecting with a bridal team, as in photographers, florists, and other vendors, because those relationships are always important. Getting your contracts and consultations and some other information online, trial run options, and in bold here, follow up is key. And then building a bridal team for helping you run your business. All right, Kayla, so here we are. And we just want to know a little bit about how you started out in this business.
Awesome. Thank you, Gretchen. Well, first of all, it was kind of, a unique story. I think we all have a very unique story, of course. And I'm totally inspired by yours, Gretchen, every day. So this group that I'm involved with you, it's been awesome because I'm learning more about myself, which then again is what this is all about, right? Every day is sharing our story to help inspire others, to help maybe them evolve into their ideal well-being. So for me, of course, I was kind of brought up in the beauty industry in a weird kind of way, kind of cool way. My aunt and my mom were both in the beauty industry. They both were stylists, but more of like, they did it out of their home. I had never really seen like an established salon. Okay. So like I always got my haircuts in my home, never even in front of a mirror, of course. So very unique. But I would travel with my mom. She would go to friends and family. And I really learned how like you can just make someone really pretty. Well, I didn't really get into doing my own hair, even like, it's funny, I was just telling Gretchen early before, like I just got all dolled up, in COVID. It's kind of funny right now because I love my yoga pants. But my mom always showed me that beauty was really important. And wherever you showed up, you want to have your first great impression. So like I learned a lot of things that you don't think about at the time. You might be super annoyed when you're like a young child thinking, oh, why do I have to put this pretty dress on or something like that? But I do feel like being authentic. So I would have to say that little bit of a story is kind of like the background because between my mom, and she was a hairstylist and didn't really like make it a full career like I have today, but she did always say, you need to make sure that you can provide for yourself, make sure you can be independent because you just never know what could happen. And so that was one of her strong words. She didn't discourage me from being a hairstylist. She encouraged me to go to college. And then on the other side, I had my dad, who was just a hard worker. He was a family business owner. He owned a logging company, and I bring him into this picture because it's huge into our story of like how we network. My dad was the kind of guy that always would just wave to everybody, and I would be like, Dad, who was that? And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know who that is, Dad? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. But you just never know where that person may turn up. You might be on the side of the road and that car might remember who you are. And I was like, okay. So I thought it was super weird back then. But again, I've been able to see those networking skills and put those to use today. And then there's my aunt, who's a stylist and such a like wellness guru. So she's kind of brought me to that path. And I was a hairstylist first, right out of high school, and end up kind of basically working with my first love's mother. She's my first salon owner. But prior to salon owner, I assisted her as basically just a prom assistant and wedding assistant when I really probably wasn't supposed to be doing such, but I got a lot of practice and I loved it. I loved doing updos and everything. I really had never experienced like cutting. I really wasn't into all of that. I just was into creating, which my mom was really good at creating and designing. So I guess I got a bit of those things from her. And I would say that first salon owner, once, I graduated high school and then I decided to become a hairstylist and I went right away. So I got it done, which I think in our industry, you have to get things done. When you think of an idea, you have to implement it. And so then I went to college because I wasn't sure. I decided I wasn't sure. I was listening to everybody else around me that maybe this career was not going to be the one that's going to provide for me, like I was worried about, right? And Gretchen and I both, we can relate here, right? As far as having a similar background, as far as maybe this may not be the right path for us, but we evolve. And from there, I just really did a lot of proms and weddings. And I would say I didn't necessarily focus on that. It was just something I loved, and I was always connecting with people and just offering them help. And that's how it really got started, was I just started doing proms even as friends. And they remember that. And I was in a very small community, and that was, you know, I moved to New Hampshire. And I'm from Maine. I moved to New Hampshire. It's been 9 years.
Well, you moved to the city. You moved from Maine down to New Hampshire. Yeah, I mean, if people are not from America or they don't know, I'm also on New England and Connecticut. So the East Coast, you know, we're between Boston. Because Boston is in between us, and but yeah, it could be super rural here.
Yes, very rural. And my small community was like super small in the fact where I would say that, I mean, in my town, there was only 800 people, but we went into a bigger school that was a lot bigger. But I did move down. It's about 4 hours south. So I had to start all over. And I feel like that's where I really began to know where I wanted to focus. I had to make some big decisions. I think I was listening to a podcast the other day. I don't know who said it, but they used the word decide. Anything that ends in IDE is like suicide, kind of like, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so deciding, once you make a decision, you have basically ended the death of that whole, whatever it was from you deciding. You're just putting your next foot forward. So I had to make a decision to be someone who wanted to focus on certain areas. And one thing was a natural curly hairstylist, which I'm definitely not naturally curly. I have a wave. These are definitely curling curls. And then also I wanted to focus on the beauty industry and the fashion of weddings and special occasions. So that's kind of where it all popped. And networking has been key, obviously.
The networking piece, there's quite a few angles to it. Some people could be just like afraid to even know how to start, or where do I go, or what do I say, or how do I show up, or do I call ahead, or do I just walk into the wedding plaza, you know, these places that do weddings or hotels that specialize in weddings. And I mean, I know the steps I took, but what would you suggest would be the first steps for someone to start networking with others in the industry?
Yeah, so it looks very different depending on if you're already like an established stylist and you're looking to become a bridal and special occasion stylist, or you're just fresh starting out and this is all you want to focus on. So if this is fresh beginning and you don't have any clients at all, then you definitely need to, you know, first connect with maybe your local florist, maybe your local photographers, maybe even set up some fun, maybe boudoir shoots. That might be too intimate to start out with. That's definitely been a fun little thing that I stepped outside of my comfort zone big time there. First, you got to partake in some of these things yourself, right? And then you get to learn a lot about yourself and how it feels. So as far as your community goes, though, you need to utilize your resources. There's also high schools that maybe, I think I remember, it's been a while, when I moved here, that's my big piece, because when I was up home, it was easy. Friends, family, I knew everybody. So that was easy. I've never been, this is not easy for me as far as to come on to a live. This is not easy for me. So I just want you all to know that, first of all, it's not easy necessarily to put yourself out there. I was definitely scared to do anything like that. Even starting new clientele in New Hampshire, I'm so grateful for my salon owner. She pushed me, and you need to find mentors that will help push you, and find maybe other stylists that you connect with. That we're so fortunate now. We have Facebook groups. I mean, Gretchen's group is 7,000 members in there. I mean, if you can find somebody in your area, she'll help you find somebody. Mm-hmm. So that's the big part. You need to find people that you want to work with, find people that may help you and offer up some free services maybe, and connect. It may not be an actual prom or an actual wedding that you're going to do at first. It might be just some demos. It could be that this is another thing because of social media today. You can actually take some time and put out there, you can even work on your mannequin head and put those things, styling tips, things like that, just grow your network right on social media to start branding yourself.